This training is actually, it primarily trains us as a group on the kinds of questions that could be asked when law enforcement first respond to a call. And the notion behind this training is to, while they're out there on the scene, before they leave, that all the victims are given immediate access to resources that will help them move forward, possibly get information, get themselves in a better, get more support, and access counseling, advocacy, all of those sorts of things. And it just seemed like a great opportunity to connect people up as soon as possible. And the notion is that the more you connect them up and the earlier you connect them up, the more likely they are to follow through, to have that contact. And there's several other side benefits. They're more likely to participate in prosecution. So if there is a criminal offense, a person who's been supported perhaps isn't quite as afraid, and they're more likely to stay out of an abusive situation because they have more support. The research in the areas that have done this shows a pretty dramatic drop in the number of lethal incidents that occur afterwards. In Marietta, we're a smaller rural area, so we don't have a high number of lethality or fatal incidents. However, the research also shows that this reduces recidivism, so that a person who takes advantage of this is less likely to get involved in another incident with that person. They're being held, they're held more accountable because of the higher rate of participation in the prosecution. The person is more stable and able to access resources. So all of those things combined really benefit even areas that don't have a high number of fatalities. Whenever you can expand those types of relationships, you improve. Through this process, for instance, we've always had a good relationship with the Marietta City Police Department. But through the conversation, it became quite clear, and the advocates are now going to start doing ride-alongs. There's going to be much more communication between the two. You had departments as a whole, so you will have frontline officers making phone calls to the local shelter, as opposed to the sergeant who's the one who basically handles all the DV stuff or takes care of the reporting. So now you're going to have the frontline person making that phone call. And I think all of that kind of communication is going to do nothing but be a tremendous benefit, a positive. If an officer has a relationship and knows that they're going to be calling the shelter, they've had conversations, because there's not a lot of different people, they're going to be calling some of the same people. Once they have that relationship, that becomes communicated to the person that they're talking with. And when you have that kind of level of trust going on, the person says, oh, okay, so you, Officer Joe, you know Emily, you like Emily, you know what Emily has done. Okay, maybe I will talk to Emily, and maybe I'll pay more attention to what Emily has to say and be more willing to take advantage of the things that are being offered. One of the other really neat benefits about all of this is not only is law enforcement going to be making those connections, but the shelter is making a commitment to saying that if you call us and this person is a high risk, we are going to serve them, period.